can eat our way out of climate change. After a lifetime growing up on a farm, working with farmers, I love growing food. And I love eating food even more. Except for Brian. When you grow up on a farm, you work hard. So hard, in fact, still got my boots on. I think I left some dirt on the red dot. I'm a loving father and husband, and I'm blessed to have a fantastic family and friends. And I rarely eat alone. Reminds me of this past Thanksgiving. There's friendly banter in the kitchen as my two now adult children roll their eyes at my latest bad dad joke. Hey, Abby, what do sea monsters eat for lunch? Fish and chips. Ah, Dad. Ugh. Pass the turkey, please. I smile as I look across the table at my loved ones. And I get nostalgic as I think about how much the world has changed. A wave of worry hits me, just like it did the first time I really understood the dangers we're facing from climate change. I wonder, what's the planet going to be like when my kids have kids? We're already starting to experience the consequences of climate change. And when I think about them getting significantly worse in the decades ahead, I get a really sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I'm a food and agricultural professional with over 3 decades of experience directly advising farmers. When you work in agriculture, you experience the climate every day. Something is changing. And I went on a quest to better understand what's happening, asking myself, can we really be causing this or significantly contributing to it? The answer is yes. In fact, many leading scientists now believe we are dangerously close to a tipping point, or a point of no return with regards to global warming. You and I, we care about the environment. Many of us are doing things we hope will help. Things like recycling, perhaps driving hybrid electric cars, and the list goes on. That's great. But guess what? Those things aren't enough. They can't happen fast, and they can't scale globally on the timeline that we need. But on this journey, I also learned something very exciting. I've learned that we can eat our way to a cleaner planet. It's amazing what we've learned just in my lifetime about the soils, plants, and growing things. We have technologies today that farmers could use to actually reverse climate change. That happens because plants pull carbon dioxide, a significant greenhouse gas, out of the atmosphere, and they put it in the ground. Using the power of sunlight and photosynthesis, plants breathe in carbon dioxide. They then split that molecule and they exhale oxygen, which you and I breathe. They do a multitude of things with the carbon that remains, one of which is stored safely in the soil through the roots. Take corn, for example. 1 acre of field corn takes in a little over, on average, 17.5 tons carbon dioxide. Tons. That's a little bit more than the weight of 2 fully grown adult elephants. Unfortunately, with current technology, we're only storing about 2% of that in the soil. But we have technologies that could enable farmers to increase that. Things like genetic modification of plants that empower them to grow deeper roots that deposit the carbon deeper in the soil in a form that can stay there for long periods of time. Things like safe, effective herbicides to control weeds that enable farmers to avoid tillage. See, tillage is when a farmer pulls a disc or a plow across a field with a tractor and turns the soil over. Now, why is that important? Because every time we till the soil, we actually release a lot of the carbon that we work so hard to store there back up into the atmosphere. Now, when food that is produced using technologies like these is wanted by you, the consumer, magic happens. That creates market demand that drives regulatory approval of and farmer adoption of these and other planet-saving technologies. I mentioned corn. Let's take corn for an example. Globally, we grow a lot of corn. Over 610 million acres, whether it's the kind you and I eat, the kind used to feed animals. It's a lot of taco shells. Now, if we could increase the amount of carbon stored in the soil from the current average of 2%, let's just say a small number like 10%, that would remove an additional 2.1 trillion pounds of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. I said trillion each year. I'll put that number in perspective. That's just a little bit less than the amount of carbon dioxide released from every single gas-burning car and truck in the United States for a whole year. Now we're making progress. And we're just growing food, something we have to do anyway. And corn is just one of hundreds of crops grown for food production. That stored carbon, when we keep it in the soil, it's like a plant food buffet. And it makes our soils more productive over time so that we can grow more food on existing farmland, taking pressure off of sensitive lands like the Amazon rainforest. And keeps hungry guys like me well fed while making significant progress towards reversing climate change. That's a true win-win. Based on this, I'm reframing the conversation about food labels so that you can be a part of reversing climate change. We need a label that helps us incentivize these and other planet-friendly farming practices. So what we currently evaluate on things like health, safety, and nutrition. Let's create a new value system for our food buying purchases. Values based on leaving a healthy, vibrant planet for our kids and their kids, all while growing safe, nutritious, and above all else, affordable food for those who can least afford it. Bottom line, we need to know whether the food we're buying is good, bad, for the climate. What would a label like that be called? Climate smart. Climate smart food production is absolutely fantastic. It takes the latest cutting-edge food production technology and combines it with farming practices that are proven to regenerate the soil. We have an opportunity right now to create such a label. And it's possible, given the accelerating pace of the impacts of climate change, one of the only things that has a shot at truly scaling globally to create market incentives to turn this thing around. Some may say this is a pipe dream, but I believe it's what it will take so all of us can be a part of the solution to climate change. I also believe that as caring people, it is our duty to act now for our kids and their kids. You can be a part of helping make a climate-smart food label a reality more quickly. Go to usa.gov and find a way that's comfortable for you to reach out to your elected senators and representatives and send them a really simple message that says something like, please support and encourage the United States Department of Agriculture to create and define a climate-smart food label. That way, the next time you're at your favorite restaurant or grocery store, you can confidently buy food that you know is rewarding farmers using climate-smart farming practices. It'll help make sure your dollars make a difference. Progressive ag professionals like myself are working hard to make this a reality. And your vote of confidence as a consumer and a voter will make a huge difference. So, choose your food with your mind and your heart. Join me in asking for climate smart.